Good afternoon. So how's everybody? Good? You don't sound very enthusiastic. How's everybody? Let me ask again. Come on. We are all alive and breathing. Isn't it wonderful? Yes. Okay. Well, Peter mentioned that I grew up in the Bay Area. Actually, yes, I did. My mother took me to immigrate from Taiwan to the Bay Area when I was 9 years old. Actually, I grew up in that very little town across the bay called El Cerrito. I don't know if anybody know El Cerrito? You do, right? Okay. So I went to El Cerrito High School. Then to, as Peter mentioned, Berkeley. But before I start, one thing that I sort of treasure about standing up in the podium is to look at people. And I always take a very good look at people. My eyesight is still working, pretty good. So, actually, there's all these beautiful people in the Bay Area. It's beautiful women and handsome men. So, it's right now. I think it's proper. You turn to your neighbor and say that you're a beautiful person. Turn to your neighbor and say you're a beautiful person. Come on. Okay, so today is, I'm very fortunate and blessed to be asked and invited to come and give my testimony. And thank you for coming. So this is a testimony. So it's my story, my part of my life's experience. Okay, so I'll start here. Okay, back in 2005, my family and I, we lived in New Jersey. I was complaining to my wife that my face was numb, and I had a swollen neck, and then I couldn't breathe very well. So my wife took me to a doctor, family doctor. Said, I think Walter has an infection. Gave me some antibiotics. After a week or so, it didn't go away. So it took me to another doctor. You have sinusitis or something, another infection, another round of antibiotics. It still didn't go away. And many months passed, went to see ENT doctor. Another round of antibiotics didn't go away. And then the last doctor that before I was done a biopsy, the doctor said to my wife, your husband has mono. Well, what is that? That's a kissing disease, right? My wife turned to me and said, who have you been kissing? Chinese 说好冤枉了 But actually, the doctor recommended me because of the lump on my neck to go do a biopsy. So that was Halloween. I remember very clearly, October 31st. Did a biopsy. 10 days later, we found out that I had 4-stage NPC, nasal cancer. It's called nasopharyngeal carcinoma. Why 4-stage? Because, as I said earlier, I was misdiagnosed 4 times. So it delayed about 8 months. So actually, the cancer cell spread to the skull base. So it's labeled as 4-stage. Because that time, we didn't know what 1, 2, 3, 4 stages meant. So 4-stage meant the end stage, your last stage. And so my wife asked, okay, 4-stage meaning what? And she said, last stage means that if your husband don't get immediate treatment, he has no more than 1 year life. And the last stage also means 80% of the patients do not survive for more than 5 years. So the chances, the odds are very, very low. I was devastated. My wife was devastated. But my wife did tell the doctor, Walter can make that statistic go up. Why do you have to listen to statistics? She was trying to encourage me. So that day when the afternoon, I told my wife, I have 3 kids, and I told my wife, I want to go tell my kids that I have cancer. So we went to pick them up. My oldest at that time was 10 years old. And he's Walter Jr., right? Junior says, we said to Walter that, I'm sorry, Walter, I have to tell you Dad has cancer. Okay, didn't tell him what stage. Immediately he asked, what stage? Wow, 10 years old, knows about 1, 2, 3, 4 stage of cancer better than me and my wife. But he's turned to be 10 again. And the next question he asked was, is it contagious? You see, he doesn't want to get it. It was so cute. But so later on at home, I have cancer. What are you going to do? Seek medical treatment, right? So my wife goes back home, picks up the phone, and I think she was on the phone for 5 or 6 hours. So she lined up 4 hospitals for me. One, we're living in Jersey, right? Sloan Kettering, premier cancer institution. 2, of course, our Taiwan hospital. Right? We have the biggest hospital healthcare institution in Taiwan, named after my grandfather, called Changgen Memorial Hospital, Changgen Yuan. 3rd was a hospital that we have an endowed chair at Cedars-Sinai in LA. They're all ready to treat me, right? The 4th one was a Singaporean hospital in Singapore, but my older sister has a friend that's an oncologist there. So 4 hospitals. Which one do we go to? My wife was, if you met Shirley, right? She's not only a loving wife, she's very caring and capable. So when she runs into situations, she would, like really situation of cancer, she would call everybody she knows, ask for advice, ask for better doctors, what are the better care, what are the medications. She even called up, I don't know if you know, Dr. David Ho, right, Time Magazine Man of the Year, right, developed a cocktail treatment for AIDS. She even called him up and woke him up in China. He was in China, in Yunnan, taking care of a lot of cancer victims. David, get up! Walter has cancer. What am I going to do? I was like, oh, my goodness. But anyways, so all these hospitals, what would you do? Select one, right? So we found this doctor, Dr. Jen Shaw, in Sloan Kettering. We Googled him, and his resume and his awards are like at least 3 or 4 pages long. Very well-renowned doctor. And so obviously you go see him first, right? He's right in the backyard, New York City. So before we decided to go see him, as a Christian, I grew up in a Christian family. I'm the 3rd-generation Christian. My grandfather is the 1st-generation Christian. Just Wang is 1st-generation Christian. And many people didn't know this, so I'll tell you, especially you're from Taiwan or from China. My father is a Christian. Just he doesn't say he is. But I think he has read the Bible about at least 4 or 5 times. So he always says he knows the Bible better than anybody. And so that night, what can you do? As a Christian, as a believer or a non-believer, what do you do? Most people would fret and you'll be angry and you would be, disappointing. You will be, it's the end of the road. Life is ending. What is the future here? Is there hope? Naturally, as a Christian, grew up in a Christian family, you pray. So after hours of praying, we stood up, and at that time was, I think, I remember correctly, it was about 10:30 at night. I walked into my daughter's bedroom. She was already asleep, 10:30. Next day there's school. She's sleeping. I climbed into her bed. I looked at my precious little girl, and I said to her, Chantal, Daddy is really sorry. I may not be able to see you grow up and walk you down the aisle. And that was my first drop of tear. Okay? That was my first drop of tear after finding out I had cancer. And then afterwards, I went downstairs, and my wife said, well, let's kneel down and pray some more. What are we going to do? So we knelt down and prayed some more, and somehow a peace came over us. Next day, we went to see Dr. Jen Shaw. And after the PET scan, CT scan, he looked at my film. He goes, yeah, you need to get treatment right away. And we asked Dr. Shaw, said, where should we go? And he goes, yeah, I know your hospital, Changge. I lectured there twice. Went to Taiwan, lectured there twice. It's a great health institution. But since you live in New Jersey, Sloan Kettering is your backyard. You need a support system. You should stay here. And I'm a great doctor. I have a great staff. Great radiologists, great people, great nurses. Stay here. You need the support. Your kids, your family, your friends, stay home. Don't go so far away. But somehow, God works in mysterious ways. He's speaking to us. And someone said, we felt we should go to Hong Kong. Out of all places, Hong Kong. But why Hong Kong? I have no home there. Yeah, we have two good friends. My wife has a college friend there, and I have one there, Vincent and Miranda. But somehow we pray, and God says, Hong Kong. And later on, we found out that my wife has a friend that's a father, actually, is a doctor at a hospital in Hong Kong called Queen Mary Hospital. He actually developed the first protocol on how to treat NPC. So it made more sense. Not only hear from God, there's such a doctor that first developed this protocol to treat NPC, and we find out statistically there were about 2,500 cases a year in Hong Kong, NPC. United States, however, only 300. So it's kind of a rare cancer, United States. South of China, about 7,000 cases a year. Taiwan, about 2,000 cases a year. So my wife picks up the phone, calls my good friend Vincent. Vincent, we're coming over, okay? I want you to, when you get off work, okay, I want you to come see Walter and cheer him up every day. like he's your wife, okay? Come cheer him every day. Now, Vincent is a very passionate man, and he said, no problem. I'll come and cheer Walter up every day. Don't worry about it. I'll pray for him too. Very devout Christian as well. So we flew to Hong Kong, and then actually, when we got there, we met Vincent, and Vincent said, I gotta tell you a story. I said, what story do you have? And I was telling my wife a story. He goes, yesterday, you remember Richard, our friend from Malaysia, KL? Yeah. Well, yeah, he's here now too. He's in Shangri-La Hotel. And yesterday when he came, we had lunch together. And Vincent tells Richard, do you know that Walter has cancer, 4th stage 2? He goes, yeah, I heard from Shirley. Okay, now, as Christians, both of us really need to pray for them. Pray for healing. Pray for recovery. And then, of course, right? After they finish lunch, they walk out of the restaurant, and then all of a sudden, Vincent says that he saw this, I think, a European lady, very frantic, rushing around, looking around, like she was very lost. Vincent automatically walks up to her and says, ma'am, are you okay? May I help you? And she said, yes, I'm so lost. I have this appointment. I'm so late. I don't know how to get there. Nobody will help me. And Vincent goes, don't worry, I'll help you. I know Hong Kong. I live here for 20 years. I know where almost everything is. And she goes, I said, don't worry. Give me your cell phone. Give me the number of people you are meeting, and then I'll call them for you. Tell them in Cantonese that, she's late, the appointment, blah, 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 blah. And after we heard this, right, Shirley goes, Vincent, I'm not surprised you go help a lady. You see, Vincent is a major playboy. Okay? I grew up with him at Berkeley, I know, all right? He has girlfriends all over the world. He's a charmer. And Shirley says, she's a girl, of course you do that. See, you do that. And he really knows how to convince girls to be his date. And Vincent goes to Shirley, tells Shirley, Shirley, you don't know me very well. If this European lady was any younger, I will personally walk her to the appointment. If she was pretty and young, I will not only walk her, I will hold her hand and walk to the appointment. So they go on their separate ways, separate taxis. And then Vincent's cell phone rings. Say, it's Richard. Why is he calling me so soon? We just, departed from each other not long ago. Richard calls up Vincent, right? And Richard goes, Vincent, I want to have what you have. What do you mean? You see, Richard is really opposite of Vincent. Richard is a single man, and he travels all over the world. And if he's very busy, okay, he trades his own stocks, invests his own fund, and he doesn't have time for people. Not much time. All right? If he sees you, you see a friend, he will have one meal with you, and that's it. He's gone. And he does sort of, it's okay, I say this all over the world, so it's okay. He's not a very passionate person. He doesn't like to help people. What do you call that, selfish? Yeah, a little bit selfish. So that's always teasing. Richard, I think on your forehead, it says, your problem, not mine, leave me alone. Very selfish, I want to have what you have, Vincent. Because you're so wealthy, you have so many big, rich friends, what else can I give you? I want to have that kind of compassion you have. You can stop in the middle of the street, help a stranger out. I want to have that kind of compassion. And Vincent tells Richard, well, you're going back to the hotel, right? And you're going to pray for Walter and Shirley, right? Yes. Well, ask God for compassion. Pray to God and ask Him, God, give me some compassion. And if you are faithful, you will receive.